Thanks for tuning in and Happy New Year. I wish you all the best in 2020, which is the start of a new decade. I thought I would kick off the new year by sharing a what's in my bag and first impressions on a Holy Grail dream bag that I added to my collection in 2019. And that's this baby right here. So this is a Chanel classic flap. It is in the small size in this beautiful dove gray color with silver hardware. I think I got this in July or August of last year. I did a whole unboxing video that I can link above if you're interested in checking that out. I go into much more detail as to why I wanted to add this bag, how I came about acquiring it, and all of that stuff in that video. Today I'm going to share what's in my bag and some of my first impressions. If you follow me on Instagram, you would have seen that I've been wearing this a lot. I've been styling it with a lot of different outfits. So I thought it was due for a what's in my bag and first impressions video. So first off, I will open the bag. And you can see that it is pretty full. There is a little bit of space. I haven't used any of the back pockets. I haven't used this little pocket in the front, and I have not used this pocket in the back. Fun fact, the small flaps have this zipper pocket, but it's not actually real. You can't put anything down here. The other classic flaps all have a real pocket that goes down, but this one is just it's just a zipper, which I'm like, you didn't need to add that if it wasn't going to function. But anyway, so mind you, I didn't use all of the compartments. I pretty much just used the main middle compartment here. And first thing are my keys. So I know I'm indoors right now, but if I were outdoors, I would be carrying my keys with me. I also have my sunglasses in a soft pouch. I think by now you noticed in all of my what's in my bag videos that my sunglasses are always in a soft pouch. These are my just standard Gentle Monsters that I like to wear all of the time, and I always carry it in a soft pouch, mostly because I want to save some space in my bags. Then it's pretty much empty. I have all of my little cosmetics things. So I have eye drops, I have this Chanel lip balm, I have this Pat McGrath mini lipstick, and I also have this Dear Dahlia liquid lip, and I would just put these in my bag straight away. I don't in this bag and in a lot of my smaller bags, I don't typically put my lip products or my little cosmetics I carry around in a separate cosmetics case. That's mostly because I want to optimize the space that I have inside the bag. It's easier to fit individual items into nooks and crannies rather than having them all bundled in a larger carry case kind of thing. So that's why, but I think this bag, I can if I want to, but a lot of times I'll just throw them individually in there, stand them up in one corner so that it's easy for me to grab, but I feel like it just saves space that way. And then last but not least, I have my wallet, which is a card holder. This is a Chanel card holder, and it's a very, very thin, small profile wallet that I would carry around for this bag. So now the bag is empty. That was everything that I fit inside of it, and that's pretty typical for what I carry around. Sometimes in the summer, I will also carry a handkerchief inside. That's just so that when I'm out and about and I need I get sweaty or I need to dry my hands off, I'll have something ready for me so I can have an extra handkerchief in here. But other than that, that's pretty much what I carry on the daily, so it all fits pretty comfortably inside the small flap. Now I will move on to some of the first impressions. I've had this bag, I want to say for 4 months or so now, and I've carried it out a handful of times. First and foremost, for this gray small flap, the main thing that comes to mind is that it is just a beautiful color. Hands down, that's my favorite aspect of this bag, is just the beautiful, soft, cool gray that it is. It almost feels like it's a pastel gray. I drool every time I take the bag out. Because it is in a very classic silhouette, I do think that the color itself makes the bag pretty statement. It's not a very common color, but it is still very neutral. So it's like a statement bag in how unique it is without being like super loud, you know? It's not like a magenta or a hot pink or like a lime yellow, but you know, it still has that like oomph to it, draws your eye, and you still look at it, they're like, oh, that's like a really like pretty color, but without it being so loud and like in your face. So I think that's really unique. And of course, because not only the color, the style, it's all very classic and neutral, so it is perfect for all 4 seasons of the year. I've had it pretty much the tail end of summer, fall, and winter now, and I don't hesitate to carry it out with me. I don't think it's too small to wear with heavier coats. So like I'll pull some examples from Instagram so you can see, but like I wear it with like those more spring fall outfits where it's just like a dress. I could wear it with this dress. I've also worn it with heavier coats, and I don't think the bag seems too small or too like summery for that. It looks beautiful with chunky knits for the winter season, and then it's also a great bag to wear kind of dressed up and dressed down. So I just absolutely love the versatility of this bag, of this size, because I can easily dress it up and down, take it out for a wedding and a nice dinner, but also take it to go shopping and just running some errands. It's a pretty like seamless transition, and the size is really good for that. I think I mentioned in my unboxing video for this bag that even though it is lambskin, it feels very hard wearing. I have a iridescent lambskin walk, which feels much more delicate compared to this lambskin. This one almost feels like calfskin. It's just how they made the lambskin this year and how it came out on this particular bag. It is pretty tough. It might even be coated. Nobody told me that it is, but it is definitely hard wearing, which I think is a pro, because a lot of times people are concerned of, you know, having to baby lambskin bags. I still don't. My iridescent walk is like showing all sorts of signs of wear, but like I used it that much. I'm not typically somebody who will overly baby my bags. I like to use them. Of course, I like to take care of my things, but I'm not going to like wear gloves to handle my bags all the time, like, you know. But regardless, the lambskin itself seems to be much more hard wearing, so I think it will be a lot more scratch resistant than my other lambskin bag. It'll also like maintain its integrity for a longer period of time. Moving on to some of the cons of this bag. First and foremost, I would have to say it's the capacity. So you'll have your minis. They're both a square and a rectangular mini. Then you have your small classic flap. You have your medium, jumbo, and maxi. So it is a little bit towards the smaller end of the spectrum, but it's still not like the smallest handbag that they create at Chanel. This is my first small flap, so I was excited to add this new size to my collection, one that I don't have. I have a jumbo, I have a medium, and I have a mini, and I have walks. So that was kind of the main size that was missing, besides a maxi. And so that was really exciting for me, but considering that it is supposed to be a size larger than the mini, I don't feel like I can fit that much more in it that I can't already fit in the mini. Just for comparison's sake, I brought out my mini that I have. So this is just a So Black chevron PVC overlay mini that I have, and I can fit the same things that I just showed you in here. You can ignore that there's some extra paper in there, but the wallet will fit in the same spot. All of my makeup items will also fit. Let me just drop them in there. My sunglasses will fit on top. And then here are my keys that I can just lay right on top there. And the bag will close very comfortably. I have no concerns that it's like overstuffed or anything. Nothing will fall out, and we're good to go. So everything fits in here. Considering that this is the next size up, I feel like it doesn't fit a lot more. And like I can do a quick visual comparison of the size so you can see, but like when you look at them, this one's definitely larger. On the side, they're pretty much the same. This one's full, just so you know, I didn't take the stuff out of it. So like visually, the small flap is definitely larger, but capacity wise, I think because also it has that double flap, you can see that it pretty much fits the same amount as what would fit in the mini. This is where the bag ends, and that's pretty much where the mini flap, how tall the mini flap is. So it doesn't fit a lot, to be really honest. Yes, it fits all of my essentials, and that's great, but it's almost like that's all it really fits. I feel like I have to limit myself to what I would normally carry in a mini size when I carry this bag, even though there is some extra capacity, because when I want to carry a little bit more, it won't fit it. Does that make sense? So then at that point, I will just carry my medium flap because I know for a fact that I can carry more stuff. And the next not so great feature for me is the double flap. This is the first Chanel handbag that I have that has this double flap in there. And I know part of it is to protect your items inside. I know part of it's also to protect the structural integrity of the bag so that it won't squish as much up top. And I know these are not always in all of the Chanel bags. So I had a hunch that I would not like the extra flap. And because how small this bag is, I really feel like this extra flap is pretty extra. Like, it's not necessary. There isn't as much stuff in here that you're going to need this. I never do the push button here. I never do. I just can't be bothered to do that. I will just like slide the first flap down and just close it and call it a day. But because this small flap has the double flap in there, it is a two-hand operation. Like if I'm at the cash register and I'm trying to get something, like it's hanging on my arm, and then I like, oh yeah, I want to just grab something. I can't. I have to like grab with the two hands and then open to get inside. And most bags would be like that, but like sometimes, you know, when you're in a rush, like you want to just be able to like lift and like get your stuff, but this extra flap is definitely in the way. It's like, it's just not my favorite feature. I anticipated that this might be a little annoying, and for me, I confirmed that yes, this double flap is kind of annoying. I'm not a huge fan of it. I don't really think it's necessary, especially in this small flap size, but it's there, so I tolerate it. My like third pointer on what I don't really like so much about this bag is that I cannot carry it crossbody. I think if you were much more petite, you might be able to, but for my frame, I cannot carry this crossbody, and I'm 5'6", by the way. It looks very beautiful as a shoulder bag right here. It also looks beautiful on the crook of the arm. If I must, I will pull it down and wear it as like a longer shoulder bag, but I cannot make this crossbody. It would like sit like on the middle of my chest. And you know, I know those like bum bags like in the front are like super in, but like I don't think this is the right size to do that. The fact that I can't be 100% hands-free sometimes can be a little bit annoying. I prefer bags that have the option to be both, you know, top handle and crossbody, or, you know, all just crossbody, because I like my hands to be free. But if I really anticipate that I'm going to need to be hands-free all day, then I have different bags that I'll carry for that purpose. So that's just something to note. It's not crossbody on my frame. So I want to share some like concluding thoughts on the size in particular, mostly because I know it might be very difficult to find the exact same bag, but Chanel will always come out with small flaps in new colors and in classic colors like black, and I believe beige small flaps exist. I've definitely seen it in black. And so in case you've been interested in the small flap size, I want to share some concluding thoughts on the size. Not so much the color. I already babbled on how beautiful the color is and how much it fits in my wardrobe and how easy it is to style. So just the size. If you are a collector and you want to have all of the classic flaps in all of the sizes, then I think you should add the small flap, because the value of the small flap is beyond just its functionality. It is also for the fact that you've completed your collection, that you have all of the sizes and things like that. So in that case, go ahead and get the small flap. It'll bring you joy because it continues to build out your collection. And that in and of itself should be worth it for you. You might still be a collector, but if you aren't necessarily somebody who cares about having all of the different classic flap sizes, and you're used to carrying mini bags or smaller bags, then I don't know if it's necessarily worth it. I think you might be better off just getting the mini. If you really like this look, then the rectangular mini is very, very similar. I would lean towards the mini flap and save on the difference between the mini and this classic. I think it's like a $1,500 difference between the rectangular mini and the small flap. That's not a negligible amount. If you care more for like the functionality of having it crossbody and fitting the same amount of stuff that you would typically carry in a small bag, then I think the mini is the way to go. You'll get the same look, you'll get the same functionality, and it won't cost as much. If you are somebody who doesn't like small bags and you typically carry more things with you on a day-to-day basis, or you just don't like how small bags look on you, then I would skip the small flap. I would actually invest in the medium flap at that point. I think the medium flap is a very spacious and yet still versatile bag. It's a beautiful size to have. If you typically carry more things, I think the medium flap would be a better option for you. For example, if you have a full-size wallet and you always like to use a full-size wallet, then the small and the minis are no good for you. The whole bag will be filled up with the wallet. So then the medium or the jumbo, even the jumbo might be a better option. But if you're looking for something that can transition day to night, then I think the medium flap would be better instead of the small flap. And then if you're like me and you don't care so much for that second flap, then I would go either the vintage or pre-loved route to look specifically for single flap bags. There are a lot of beautiful vintage pieces in beautiful conditions that don't have that extra flap. The older small classic flaps, the older minis are in slightly different dimensions. Sometimes they're a little bit taller, they're a little bit more square than they are rectangular looking. So I think those are really chic. I think those are really cool because the dimensions are slightly different. And I think the quality of vintage Chanel is just mind-blowing. So if you don't like the double flap, if you think that will be cumbersome for you, then I would recommend checking the pre-loved route. All right, so that's everything. That is what's in my bag, this Chanel small flap, and also my first impressions of this bag. I mentioned in my 2019 Roundup video that this was an honorary mention because I was able to add a dream bag to my collection, and yet it didn't emerge as like one of the best purchases that I made. So I hope some of my first impressions on this video help clarify why. I still love the bag and it's still going to stay in my collection. I will still use it for years to come. The cons that I mentioned aren't necessarily qualities that make me want to part ways with the bag. But knowing what I know now, I don't necessarily think I'll jump to buy more small flaps. I may choose to buy like a medium flap or more minis or things like that. Like I do have a good number of small bags in my collection now, so I'm not necessarily looking to add like 5,000 more small bags. But now I do know that the small classic flap may not necessarily be the best size for me. If you have any questions on this or anything that I mentioned today, feel free to leave them down below or head on over to Instagram and I'd be happy to help however I can. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate all of your feedback and support. I have other what's in my bag and first impression videos for a lot of the other pieces that I have in my collection, so I will link some of those down below and feel free to check those out as well. 2020 is the start of a new decade and I am really, really excited to continue my journey on this channel. I'm also excited to have all of you continue to join me and continue the dialogue as part of this community. So if you like this kind of content and you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel. I post new videos every Sunday. So until next time,